The rain hammered down like God's own judgment on that godforsaken alley behind the old strip mall in suburban Ohio, turning the cracked asphalt into a river of regret. David Ramirez, 17 and already carrying the weight of a lifetime's secrets, slipped on a puddle of what he prayed wasn't blood, his sneakers squelching as he caught himself against a overflowing dumpster. And there, wrapped in a sodden pink blanket amid the stench of rotting takeout and discarded dreams, was the tiniest human he'd ever seen. A baby girl, no more than a few months old, her cries slicing through the storm like a siren's wail, her tiny fists flailing against the injustice of being left to drown in the downpour. David's heart slammed against his ribs, a wild drumbeat drowning out the thunder. He didn't think, he just moved, scooping her up with hands that trembled from the cold and something deeper, something like fate's cruel hook reeling him in. "Shoo, little one," he whispered, his voice cracking as he cradled her against his chest, her warmth seeping through his soaked hoodie like a promise he wasn't sure he could keep. But as her cries softened into hiccuping gasps against his neck, David knew one thing for certain. This abandoned soul had just claimed his, and nothing, not his deadbeat dad, not the whispers at school about the fairy kid, not even the gnawing ache of loving in silence would make him let go. David stumbled out of the alley, the baby's weight a fragile anchor pulling him toward the flickering neon of the all-night diner on Elm Street. Rain blurred his vision, but he could still make out the faded, open 24/7 sign swinging like a noose in the wind. His phone was dead, had been since yesterday's fight with his mom over that phase he was going through, and the nearest star was a 10-mile hike through sheets of water. No way was he calling the cops yet. He'd seen enough foster horror stories on TikTok to know better. For now, it was just him and her, two strays against the world. Pushing through the diner's door, a bell jingled like a half-hearted welcome. The place smelled of burnt coffee and grease, the kind of greasy spoon where truckers nursed hangovers and locals nursed grudges. Marlene, the night shift waitress with hair like steel wool and eyes that had seen too much, looked up from her crossword. "Jesus, kid, you look like a drowned rat." "Who's the bundle?" David slid into a booth, peeling back the blanket just enough to reveal the baby's cherubic face, now streaked with rain and mucus but still impossibly perfect. "Found her. In the alley. She's freezing." His voice was steady, but inside, panic clawed at him. What if she had hypothermia? What if someone came looking? Marlene bustled over, her apron stained with what looked like yesterday's hash browns. She clucked her tongue, pressing a meaty palm to the baby's forehead. "Poor lamb. Here, gimme that." She whisked away the wet blanket, wrapping the infant in a fresh towel from behind the counter before plopping a mug of hot chocolate in front of David. "Drink. And don't you dare think about running off. I'll call the paramedics." "No!" The word burst out sharper than he intended. David's hazel eyes flashed with that stubborn fire his abuela always said came from the Ramirez bloodline. Fierce, unyielding, like desert cacti blooming in spite of the drought. "They'll take her away. Put her in the system." I can't let that happen." Marlene paused, phone halfway to her ear, sizing him up. She knew David, everyone in Willow Creek did. The quiet kid who bussed tables on weekends to help with rent. The one who sketched intricate portraits in his notebook during slow shifts, always hiding them when the jocks came in. Whispers followed him like shadows. The gay boy, the one whose dad split after catching him with that older kid from the community college last summer. "Kid," she said softly, "you got a heart bigger than this county, but you ain't equipped for this." He met her gaze, chin lifting. Neither was my mom when she had me. But she tried. The baby stirred, letting out a mule that twisted something deep in David's gut. He reached out, tracing a finger along her downy cheek. She latched onto it, her grip surprisingly strong, and in that moment, under the harsh fluorescent lights, David felt seen not as the freak, the outcast, but as someone capable of holding the world together. The paramedics arrived in a blur of sirens and questions, bundling the baby into an ambulance while David rode shotgun, his hand never leaving hers. At the hospital, the ER buzzed with the controlled chaos of a small-town night shift, a car wreck victim groaning in curtain 3, a flu-riddled grandma hacking in the waiting room. The pediatrician, Dr. Ellis, a wiry man with wire-rimmed glasses and a mustache that screamed 1970s cop show, examined the infant with gentle efficiency. Malnourished but stable, he announced, scribbling notes. No ID. No nothing. You find her. David nodded, recounting the alley in halting sentences, his Spanish lilt creeping in under stress. Dr. Ellis glanced at the social worker hovering nearby, a clipboard-clutching woman named Ms. Hargrove with the kind of sympathetic smile that felt like pity. We'll need to notify child services. Routine protocol. David's stomach dropped. Can I stay with her? Just till you figure it out, Ms. Hargrove's smile tightened. Family only, Aunt. But you're a hero for this. What's your name? David. David Ramirez. He swallowed hard, the word hero tasting like ash. Heroes didn't hide crushes on the quarterback or lie to their moms about late nights. Heroes didn't wake up sweating from dreams of hands that weren't there. They let him hold her while they ran tests, naming her Jane Doe for the chart. But in David's mind, she was Lily, fragile as a bloom in frost, but rooted deep. He rocked her in the stiff vinyl chair, humming an old Selena tune his abuela taught him, the rhythm syncing with her breathing. Hours blurred into dawn, the rain easing to a drizzle outside the window. And that's when he first noticed the locket, a tiny gold thing around her neck, half hidden under her onesie. He didn't touch it, not yet, but it glinted like a secret waiting to be cracked. By morning, child services had swooped in, whisking Lily to a temporary foster home on the edge of town. David fought it, his voice rising in the sterile hallway until Ms. Hargrove promised he'd be consulted. You're the finder, she said. That counts for something. But as they wheeled her away, Lily's eyes, big and blue, locking onto his, begged him not to forget. He wouldn't. Couldn't. School that day was a haze. Willow Creek High loomed like a prison of lockers and leers, the hallways echoing with the slam of metal and the snicker of whispers. David slumped into homeroom, his hoodie still damp, ignoring the curious stares. Dude, you smell like wet dog, muttered Tyler, the resident meathead whose idea of humor was wedgies and slurs. David shot him a glare that could curdle milk, but inside, the exhaustion gnawed deeper. Lunch found him alone in the art room, sketching Lily's face from memory. Those rosebud lips, the way her lashes fluttered like butterfly wings. That's when Alex walked in. Alex Hawthorne, Sr., track star, with sun-kissed blonde hair that fell just so, and green eyes that sparkled like the Ohio River after a storm. The kind of guy who made David's pulse stutter and his palms sweat, The kind who'd flashed him a smile in the locker room last spring that lingered too long to be straight. Gay? Bi? David didn't know, didn't dare ask. But Alex had a way of leaning in during group projects, his knee brushing David's under the table, sending sparks up his spine. Hey, Ramirez. Heard you played White Knight last night. Alex dropped into the stool beside him, close enough that David caught the scent of his cedar cologne mixed with fresh-cut grass from practice. David's pencil stilled. Word travels. Alex peered at the sketch, his breath warm on David's shoulder. She's beautiful. Like you captured her soul or something. His fingers brushed David's wrist. Accidental? Intentional? And David felt heat flood his cheeks. Just needed to see her again. David closed the notebook, heart hammering. You believe in fate, Hawthorne? Alex's grin was slow, devastating. I believe in second chances. And maybe grabbing coffee after school? My treat. To hear the full story, David hesitated, the offer hanging like a lifeline. In a town where being out meant targets on your back, Alex was a risk wrapped in temptation. But Lily's face in his mind pushed him forward. Yeah. Okay. That coffee turned into walks by the river, stolen glances turning to lingering touches. Alex confessed over lattes at the indie spot downtown. I've been watching you, David. The way you see the world, it's like poetry. Their first kiss happened under the willow trees, tentative and tasting of vanilla creamer, Alex's hands cupping David's face like he was porcelain. It was electric, forbidden fruit in the heartland, where love like theirs bloomed in shadows. But Lily was the thread weaving it all. David visited her at the foster home twice a week, bringing booties he'd knit from yarn scavenged from his mom's drawer and stories whispered in Spanglish. The foster mom, Mrs. Patel, a kind widow with a sari that smelled of curry and cardamom, let him feed her bottles, change diapers that still made him gag. She lights up for you, Mrs. Patel said one afternoon, watching Lily coo at David's goofy faces. Like you're her anchor, David beamed, but the locket nagged at him. One visit, while Lily napped, he gently unclasped it. Inside, a photo of a stern woman in pearls, and engraved on the back, ELH. Initials? A clue? He snapped a pic on his revived phone, heart racing. That night, alone in his cramped bedroom, posters of Frida Kahlo and Billie Eilish peeling from the walls, he Googled the initials. Nothing. But as he scrolled, Alex texted, "Miss you already. Come over, parents out." David's thumbs hovered, temptation warring with the pull toward Lily. He chose the baby, always the baby. Weeks blurred into a rhythm. School, shifts at the diner, stolen moments with Alex that left him breathless and bruised in the best way. Alex was out to a few friends, cautious but proud, and in his arms, David felt invincible. "You're my muse," Alex murmured one night, tracing constellations on David's bare back in the Hawthorne basement, fairy lights casting a golden haze. "And Lily? She's our little secret project." David laughed, but unease flickered. Alex had started asking questions about the locket, casual at first. Any leads on her folks? Then more pointed. What if she's loaded? Like trust fund vibes. David brushed it off, but the seed planted. The break came on a crisp October Saturday. Ms. Hargrove called. "David, we've got a hit on the locket." Elizabeth Langford Harrington, socialite, disappeared 6 months ago. Her baby's missing too. David's world tilted. Harrington? As in Harrington Industries, the steel empire that owned half the Midwest? He raced to the foster home, Lily in his arms as Mrs. Patel handed over the news. DNA tests confirmed. She was Eliza Harrington III, heiress to billions, abandoned by a mother unraveling under postpartum psychosis and family pressure. The press descended like vultures. Willow Creek splashed across national news. Gay teen hero saves billionaire baby. Reporters camped outside David's trailer, flashing bulbs blinding him as he shielded Lily. His mom, tear-streaked and proud for once, hugged him tight. "Mi hijo, you did good." But the high crashed hard. Enter Victor Langford, Eliza's grandfather, a silver-haired titan in a bespoke suit, eyes like chipped ice. He swept into the social services office, lawyers in tow, claiming custody. "The child's place is with family," he boomed, glancing at David like roadkill. "Not some experiment in suburbia." David's blood boiled. "Family? You let her get dumped in an alley." Victor's smile was a blade. "Tragedies happen. But Eliza belongs in a penthouse, not a trailer park." Alex was there for the hearing, squeezing David's hand under the table. "We'll fight this," he whispered. But as Victor's team paraded experts, psychologists deeming David unstable due to his lifestyle, doubt crept in. Late nights, Alex paced David's room. "What if we leveraged it? Told the old man you're open to a settlement for Lily's future?" David recoiled. "What? Sell her out?" "Not sell, protect." "Come on, think bigger. We could have everything." The words hung, poisonous. Was this the boy who'd kissed him under stars? Or had the glint of billions revealed the truth? The courtroom in downtown Cleveland smelled of polished wood and stale ambition, the kind of place where dreams went to get lawyered into submission. David sat ramrod straight in the gallery, Lily balanced on his knee, her chubby fingers twisting the collar of his button-down, the one his mom had ironed with shaky hands that morning. Across the aisle, Victor Langford held court like a king on his throne, his Armani suit whispering of boardrooms and buyouts, while Eliza's mother, pale, medicated, eyes hollow as abandoned wells, huddled beside him, avoiding David's gaze. Judge Harlan, a no-nonsense woman with salt and pepper hair and a gavel that cracked like thunder, scanned the papers. "Mr. Ramirez, you've formed a bond with the child. But blood and resources speak volumes. Mr. Langford's petition for guardianship is compelling." David's throat tightened, words bubbling up like bile. "Your Honor, Eliza, doesn't know penthouses from projects. She knows me. I found her in the rain, held her when she cried. That's family." His voice broke on the last word, hazel eyes pleading, but the room's chill seeped in. Whispers rippled. The gay kid, the teen dad fantasy gone wrong. Alex, beside him, squeezed his thigh under the table, a gesture meant to steady, but it felt possessive now, laced with the previous night's argument. "Just sign the NDA," Alex had urged in the trailer, voice low as his mom snored in the next room. Victor's offering hush money. 50 grand to vanish quietly. We could start over, college, New York, away from this shithole. David had shoved him away, the betrayal stinging like a slap. You're talking about buying her off. Like she's a stock tip. It's practical, babe. Love's great, but it don't pay bills. Now, as the judge recessed for deliberation, Alex leaned in, breath hot against David's ear. He's bluffing. Play along. But David's skin crawled. Was this the same Alex who'd traced forever on his palm with a Sharpie during study hall? Or had the Harrington fortune unearthed a hustler beneath the jock facade? Outside, the media scrum was a frenzy. Mics thrust like spears. Questions shouted. David, are you in it for the money? How's it feel to play house with a billionaire's kid? He clutched Lily tighter, her warmth a shield, ducking into a service elevator with Ms. Hargrove. They're wolves, she muttered, punching the button for the parking garage. But you've got heart. That's rarer than gold. That night, back in Willow Creek, David paced the trailer, Lily asleep in a borrowed bassinet beside his bed. His mom, Rosa, stirred instant coffee at the Formica counter, her night shift scrubs rumpled. Mijo, you look like La Muerte. Eat something. Can't. He collapsed onto the sagging couch, head in hands. The locket lay open on the coffee table, Eliza's tiny photo staring up, her mother as a girl, all wide-eyed innocence before the world chewed her up. Victor had demanded it back, calling it family property. But David had palmed it during the chaos, a small rebellion. Rosa sat beside him, her calloused hand on his knee. The woman who'd raised him alone after his dad bolted, working doubles at the factory to keep the lights on, had never been soft. But tonight, her dark eyes softened. You love that baby like I loved you. Even when it hurt. She hesitated. Then, and that boy, Alex, he looks at you like you're the sun. But suns burn. David. Be careful. He nodded, throat thick. Love. It was supposed to be simple, two boys against the cornfields, hands intertwined under bleachers. But Alex's texts had shifted. Less poetry, more probing. Grandpa Langford called me today. Said he'd fund my track scholarship if I convinced you. David's stomach twisted. Convinced or coerced? The next day, school was a minefield. Posters of Lily's face, blurred for privacy, plastered the halls. Willow Creek's guardian angel. Tyler and his crew jeered in the cafeteria. Hey, fairy godmother, gonna diaper the kid in Gucci now. David ignored them, tray trembling as he sat alone. But Alex slid in opposite, tray loaded with fries, his smile too bright, too rehearsed. Babe, we need to talk. Alex's voice was low, urgent, green eyes darting to the exits. Victor's team cornered me after court. They're painting you as unstable, bringing up your, orientation. In the custody fight, David's fork clattered. My what? Being gay makes me unfit? That's bullshit. Shoo. Alex glanced around, then leaned closer, his knee pressing David's under the table. Not affectionate, but insistent. I told them to fuck off. But David, think, if we back down, get the payout, we could foster her privately. Be her dad's. Official. The word dad's hung. Poisoned apple. David's heart ached for it, them. The family. Alex's laugh echoing in a house with a yard. Lily toddling between. But the payout? It reeked of transaction, not transformation. You sound like him. Victor. Alex's face hardened, A flash of something ugly, ambition, resentment. I'm thinking of us. You, slinging burgers forever? Me, stuck in this dead-end town? Lily deserves better than your mom's trailer. David stood, chair scraping like a scream. She deserves truth. Not a buyout. He stormed out, the cafeteria's din fading as he hit the bathroom, splashing water on his face. In the mirror, his reflection stared back. Hollow cheeks, eyes shadowed from sleepless nights rocking Lily during visits. Who was he without her? The scared kid who'd come out to his mom at 15, only to hear, "I love you, but this town's not kind?" Or the fighter who'd braved the rain for a stranger's child. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Mr. Ramirez, this is Elena Vasquez, Harrington family attorney. Confidential meeting? We need to discuss Eliza's future without Victor's knowledge. Heart pounding, David replied. When? The meeting was in a nondescript coffee shop in Akron. The kind with mismatched mugs and indie folk crooning from speakers. Elena was mid-40s, sharp bob haircut and sharper suit, her brown eyes warm but wary as she slid into the booth opposite David. Lily wasn't there, Foster rules, but her absence ached like a phantom limb. "You're not what I expected," Elena said, stirring her black coffee. "A teen activist type. Maybe. Not this." She gestured vaguely at him, taking in the faded jeans, the sketchbook peeking from his backpack. David bristled. This? A kid who gives a damn. She smiled faintly. Precisely. Victor's pushing for full control, private jets, nannies, a nursery in his Manhattan tower. But Eliza's mother, Beth, she's fighting back. From rehab. She says you saved her daughter. Wants you involved. David leaned forward, pulse thundering. Involved how? Guardianship share. Co-parenting, if you will. Beth's unstable, but she sees you as stable. Grounded. Elena slid a folder across. Legal docs, psych evals, a proposed plan outlining supervised visits turning to joint custody. Victor's cut her off emotionally, financially. This is her play. And yours. He flipped pages, the legalese blurring. Co-parenting. With a billionaire's mess of a family? But Lily's face danced in his mind, her gummy smile when he tickled her toes. What's the catch? Elena's gaze dropped. Alex Hawthorne. He's been talking to Victor's people. Dropping hints about your vulnerabilities. For a price. The world grade. Betrayal. Sharp as shattered glass. David gripped the table, knuckles white. That son of a... Easy. We can use it. Expose the interference. Sway the judge. She paused, studying him. But it means going public. Your story, all of it. The rain, the love, the boys. David swallowed, the weight of exposure crashing down. Coming out fully, in court, on CNN, his mom's job, his abuela's whispers from Miami, the slurs at school they'd all amplify. But for Lily, do it. That evening, he confronted Alex at the riverbank, the Ohio churning muddy under a bruised sky. Alex arrived cocky, hands in pockets, but faltered at David's expression, raw, unfiltered fury. You sold me out, David spat, voice echoing off the water. To Victor. For what? A scholarship? Pocket change. Alex's face crumpled, then hardened. It was for us. He offered tuition. A condo. Us? Or you? David stepped closer, chest heaving, the space between them crackling with the ghost of their first kiss. I thought you saw me. Not my leverage. Alex reached out, fingers grazing David's arm. I do. I love you, David. This town's killing us. Let me fix it. But David jerked back, tears hot on his cheeks. Love doesn't broker deals with wolves. He turned, walking away as Alex's pleas faded into the dusk. The river whispered secrets, carrying away the boy he dreamed of building a life with. Alone again, but not empty. Lily's locket burned against his chest, a talisman of what mattered. The scandal broke like a dam. Leaked emails from Victor's camp, Alex's texts to intermediaries, splashed across TMZ and the plain dealer. Billionaire baby drama. Granddad's dirty tricks. Teen lover's betrayal. Willow Creek buzzed. Tyler high-fived him in the hall. Dude, you're famous. Marlene comped his meals. My hero's hero. Even his mom hugged him tighter, whispering, proud, Mijo. So proud, but fame's glare scorched. Reporters tailed him to the diner, questions probing like scalpels. David, how's the heartbreak? Ready for the spotlight as gay icon. He dodged, focusing on court prep with Elena, practicing testimony until his voice steadied. Lily's visits became lifelines, her first laugh, a bubble of joy when he dangled keys, healing fractures he didn't know were there. Crestfallen, Alex tried reconciliation. Flowers on the trailer steps, voicemails thick with regret. I was scared, of losing you to this circus. Forgive me? David deleted them, but doubt lingered. Nights staring at the ceiling, wondering if love could rebuild on ruins. The final hearing dawned gray, snow flurrying like confetti from a broken promise. The courtroom packed. Victor's entourage in Brooks Brothers, Beth pale but poised in the front row, Rosa clutching rosary beads beside David. Lily, officially Eliza now, gurgled in Mrs. Patel's arms, oblivious to the stakes. Judge Harlan entered, gavel poised. This case tests the soul of family, she began, eyes sweeping the room. Not blood or banks, but bonds forged in crisis. Testimony flowed. David's, raw and riveting, painting the alley's despair and Lily's grip on his finger like salvation. Beth's, tearful, admitting her breakdown, her gratitude. Then the bombshell Alex, subpoenaed, crumbling on the stand. I thought I was helping. But I was wrong. David's the real deal. Victor sneered from his seat, but the judge's gaze pinned him. Mr. Langford, your machinations undermine the very legacy you claim to protect. Deliberation stretched eternal. David rocking Lily in the hall, her head on his shoulder. Rosa murmured prayers. Elena paced. Then the call. In the matter of Eliza Harrington III, joint guardianship awarded to Elizabeth Harrington and David Ramirez, with supervised transition. Relief crashed like waves. Victor stormed out, empire intact but pride shattered. Beth approached. Tentative, thank you. For seeing her when I couldn't. David nodded, Lily's warmth sealing the pact. We're in it together. Outside, snow blanketed the steps, muting the world. Alex waited by the curb, eyes red-rimmed. David. Not now. But David paused. The locket's weight a reminder. Forgiveness wasn't weakness. Maybe later. When it's real. Alex's nod was small, hopeful. As David carried Lily into the flurry, Rosa trailing with a grin, he felt it, the stir of something new. Not perfect, not painless, but profoundly his. In America's heartland, where rain washed away the old, a family bloomed from the wreckage, roots deep in unlikely soil. Winter gripped Willow Creek like a jealous lover, blanketing the town in ice that cracked underfoot and frosted the trailer windows in fractal patterns. David woke to Lily's cries piercing the pre-dawn hush, her bassinet a makeshift throne beside his bed, now officially hers under the court's decree. He scooped her up, her tiny body feverish against his chest, and padded to the kitchen where Rosa already had the kettle whistling. "She's teething." "Me, Joe," Rosa said, handing him a bottle warmed on the stove. Her eyes, lined with fatigue from extra shifts to cover fancy lawyer fees, sparkled with quiet pride. Or maybe just missing her mommy's stories. David chuckled, settling into the rocker his abuela had shipped from Miami. Creaky but sturdy, like their bond. "Yeah, well, her uncle's got plenty." He cooed nonsense in Spanglish, Lily's fussing easing into contented gurgles as she latched on. Joint guardianship meant weekends with Beth in her supervised apartment downtown, but weekdays were David's domain. Diapers, purees, and the bone-deep joy of her firsts. Her first word, "Dada," had been for him a syllable that mended cracks in his soul he hadn't named. But Joy's shadow loomed. Victor's appeal loomed like a storm cloud, his lawyers filing motions citing David's youth and inexperience as liabilities. Tabloids feasted. Heiress heist. Trailer park takeover? Fatigs lurked at drop-offs, capturing Rosa's glare and David's defiant chin. And Alex. God, Alex. The betrayal festered, but so did the pull, a magnetic ache that drew David's gaze during track meets, where Alex's lithe form blurred the finish line, sweat glistened and glorious. They'd avoided each other since the hearing, a cold war of hallways and half-smiles. But one blustery February afternoon, as David bundled Lily into the stroller for a walk to the park, Alex appeared at the trailer's door, breath fogging in the chill. Snow dusted his beanie, pulled low over those green eyes now shadowed with regret. "Can we talk? For real this time." Not a plea, but close, voice rough, hands shoved deep in his parka. David hesitated, Lily kicking her blankie impatiently. 5 minutes. Park bench. The path wound through skeletal oaks, their branches clawing at the slate sky. Silence stretched, broken only by Lily's babble and the crunch of boots on frost. At the bench, their bench, from stolen summer kisses, David parked the stroller, facing Alex with arms crossed. "Say it," Alex exhaled, white plume curling. "I fucked up. Royally. Victor's money. It whispered all my insecurities. Dad's unemployment, Mom's pills, this town chewing us up. I thought I could game the system, be the hero for once." He met David's eyes, raw vulnerability cracking his facade. "But losing you? That's the real poverty." David's resolve wavered, the old spark flickering. "You didn't lose me. You sold me." "For what? A foot in the door to their world." "No." Alex stepped closer, close enough for cedar cologne to cut the cold. "For a door out of ours." But I see it now, you built a world worth staying for. Lily, your sketches, the way you fight, like you're unbreakable. His hand hovered, then dropped. I love you, David. Not the idea, not the payout. You. The words landed soft, thawing ice in David's chest. He wanted to believe, wanted the boy who'd mapped his freckles with lips, who'd whispered sonnets during midnight drives. But trust was a fragile bloom, easily crushed. Prove it. No strings. Help me fight Victor. For her. Alex nodded, fierce. Deal. From their fragile alliance reformed into something tentative, tender. Alex showed up for diaper runs, his large hands comically gentle folding onesies. He chased Lily on the living room rug, her squeals echoing as he pretended to be a tickle monster, while David sketched them from the doorway, charcoal strokes capturing the light in Alex's laugh, the way it bridged their chasm. Nights, after Rose's bedtime stories, they'd sit on the porch swing, Lily asleep between, sharing silences that spoke volumes. You're good with her, David admitted one evening, stars pricking the velvet sky. Alex's smile was sheepish. Blame my little sis. And you watching you with her? It's magic. His fingers brushed David's. A question in the touch. David didn't pull away. Instead, he leaned in, their kiss slow, exploratory, like rediscovering a favorite song. It tasted of forgiveness, tentative and true, Alex's hand cupping his neck with reverence. I'm all in, Alex murmured against his lips. No exits, but Victor's shadow lengthened. The appeal hearing loomed in March, and his tactics escalated. Anonymous tips to CPS about David's party lifestyle, lies twisted from a single photo of him and Alex at a queer youth meetup in Columbus. Beth called in tears. He's turning the board against me. Threatening to cut my rehab funding. David rallied. Elena drafted counters. Rallying supporters, Marlene testified to his character. Mrs. Patel to his care. Even the local paper ran a feature, David's Defense, a teen stand for love and legacy. Alex contributed, confessing his role in a sworn affidavit. I was manipulated. David's integrity shames me. The night before the hearing, tension coiled tight. David couldn't sleep, Lily's soft snores a lullaby unmet. He slipped out to the backyard, fireflies long gone but crickets chirping defiance. Alex found him there, 2 lawn chairs dragged close, a thermos of hot cocoa between. Scared? Alex asked, pouring. Terrified, David wrapped chilled fingers around the mug. What if I lose her? Back to square one alone. Invisible. Alex set his cup down, pulling David into his arms. You're not invisible. Not to me. Not to her. His embrace was solid, heartbeat syncing with David's frantic one. They talked till dawn. Dreams of art school for David, coaching for Alex, a future where Lily called them both home. When their lips met again, it was deeper, hands roaming with healed hunger. Alex's palms sliding under David's shirt, tracing ribs and scars, David's fingers tangling in blonde strands. They made love on the old quilt in the shed, urgent and unhurried, bodies whispering apologies and affirmations under the moon's indifferent gaze. Morning brought clarity, if not ease. The courtroom thrummed with anticipation. Victor's phalanx of suits versus David's ragtag allies. Rosa in her best dress, Beth flanked by counselors, Alex in the front row, hand raised in oath-ready solidarity. Judge Harlan, face stern as granite, reviewed exhibits, the appeal's flimsiness, Victor's emails seething with entitlement. Mr. Langford, she intoned, your resources are vast, but wisdom scarcer. Attempts to subvert justice via coercion and falsehoods betray a poverty of spirit. Victor's jaw clenched, empire cracking. Appeal denied. Guardianship stands. Moreover, I order family counseling mandatory to foster unity, not division. Cheers erupted, subdued, but seismic. David sagged against Rosa, tears streaming as Beth enveloped them both. Lily passed hand to hand like a benediction. Victor rose, face ashen, but paused at David's side. You win this round, boy. But blood endures. David met his stare, Lily's weight steadying him. So does heart. Outside, spring teased with crocuses pushing through snow, a metaphor Elena later quipped. Reporters swarmed, but David waved them off, piling into Rose's beat-up Civic with his patchwork family. Alex drove separately, catching David's eye in the rearview, a promise kept. That evening, celebration bloomed low-key. Marlene's diner, closed for a Ramirez Harrington feast. Tables groaned under tamales from Rosa, curries from Mrs. Patel, Beth's tentative Jell-O salad. Laughter flowed. Lily's coos the soundtrack. As plates cleared, Alex pulled David aside to the back booth. Their booth. Future's wide open, Alex said, sliding a key across the vinyl. My folks' cabin upstate. Weekend getaway? Just us three. David's fingers closed over it, warmth spreading. Yeah. Us three. But Victor's parting shot echoed. Weeks later, a letter arrived, an invitation to Harrington HQ in Pittsburgh, to discuss terms. David went, Lily on his hip, Alex at his back. The tower gleamed steel and glass. Victor's office a shrine to conquest. Mahogany desk. Walls lined with oil portraits of stern ancestors. You've disrupted my order, Victor said, pouring scotch he didn't offer. But perhaps. Utility in alliance. A foundation in Eliza's name. Youth outreach. Your expertise. David's laugh was sharp. You mean, parade the gay savior for PR. Victor's eyes narrowed. Pragmatism, Mr. Ramirez. She'll need more than heart when boards beckon. Alex bristled, but David raised a hand. We'll consider. But on our terms. No strings, no scandals. Or we walk and take the story public. Victor conceded with a nod, the Titan tamed. As they left, elevator descending, Alex whistled. You owned that room. David grinned, Lily's head on his shoulder. We did. Summer unfurled golden, conflicts simmering to embers. Beth stabilized, visits lengthening into playdates at the river. Her reading board books while David sketched, Alex grilling veggie burgers. Trust rebuilt brick by brick, her sharing postpartum horrors, him confessing Abuela's ghost stories. One humid night, under Firefly's ballet, Beth broached, adoption papers. Full. If you want. David's breath caught. You'd. Let me? She smiled, fragile but fierce. You're her dad. In every way that counts. Tears pricked. Joint. Always. Alex, witnessing from the bank, pulled him close later. Their dance slow in the shallows, Lily splashing from a floatie, laughter bubbling. This, Alex whispered, forehead to David's, is the fortune, yet humanity's edge cut deep. In July, news hit. Beth's relapse, a slip after a board meeting ambush by Victor's allies. She vanished for days, guilt her captor. David found her in a motel off I-71, shivering in withdrawal, apologies spilling like rain. I can't lose her. You won't. He held her through the night, Alex fetching coffee and calling Elena for rehab redux. Victor arrived at dawn, not as conqueror but contrite, his own youth's losses surfacing in slurred confession. I drove Beth's mother away. History rhymes. For the first time, vulnerability cracked his armor. Help her, David urged. Be grandfather, not ghost. Victor nodded, funding a private facility, attending sessions. Fractured family mending, thread by fragile thread. By fall, Lily's first birthday dawned crisp, leaves aflame in scarlet and gold. The party sprawled across Mrs. Patel's yard, piñatas swinging, curry wafting, Selena blasting from Bluetooth. David, in a world's okayest dad apron Alex had gifted, smashed cake on Lily's highchair, her giggles infectious. As dusk fell, bonfire crackling, Alex drew David aside to the hammock, stars winking approval. 1 year, Alex said, ring box materializing simple silver, engraved D and A and E. Promise ring. Till we're legal. Till forever. David's heart swelled, slipping it on. Forever's a start. They kissed, slow and sure, Lily's sleepy sigh from the carrier the only witness. In America's weave of heartbreak and hope, they'd carved a tapestry, kisses in the heartland, love defying dollars, a gay teen's rain-soaked rescue blooming into legacy. Human, flawed, profound. Autumn's palette painted Willow Creek in fiery hues, but inside the trailer, the air hummed with anticipation's electric buzz. David adjusted his tie in the foggy bathroom mirror, borrowed from Alex's dad, stiff and unfamiliar against his skin, while Lily babbled from her playpen, stacking blocks with pudgy determination. 1 year since the alley, since fate's deluge had reshaped his world, and today marked another pivot. The adoption hearing, sealing the bond with ink and oath. You look handsome, Mijo, Rosa called from the kitchen, her voice muffled by the sizzle of chorizo. She'd taken the day off, her factory uniform swapped for a floral dress that whispered of her Miami youth. Like a man with a future, David grinned, emerging to scoop Lily, her party dress a froth of tulle. Future's got chubby cheeks and zero chill. He nuzzled her neck, inhaling baby shampoo and promise. Beth would meet them at court, clean 6 months, her smile steady in recent photos, and Victor, begrudging ally, had even RSVP'd to the post-hearing lunch. Miracles, Midwestern style. Alex arrived in his mom's SUV, horn tooting a jaunty tune. He hopped out, track jacket slung over a crisp shirt, blonde hair tamed but rebellious strands escaping. Ready to make it official? His kiss was quick, chaste for Rose's sake, but loaded, eyes promising more when the day's dust settled. The drive to Cleveland blurred in golden light, Lily's car seat sing-songing with her toy keys. Alex's hand found David's on the gearshift, thumb tracing circles. Nervous, A little, David squeezed back. What if the judge sees trailer trash and box? Alex snorted. She'll see heart. And hot dads. His wink eased the knot in David's gut. Court was anticlimactic poetry. Judge Harlan, softer in civilian slacks, reviewed the petition with a nod. Mr. Ramirez, your journey from finder to father exemplifies resilience. Ms. Harrington's consent is unequivocal. Beth, poised in pearls, Victor's gift, repurposed, signed with steady hand, tears glistening. She's yours, David. Ours. The gavel fell light, a blessing. Outside, hugs cascaded. Roses fierce, Beth's grateful, even Victor's stiff pat on Lily's back. Take care of her, boy. Alex filmed it all on his phone. Voiceover goofy. And that's how the Ramirez-Hawthorne-Harrington clan levels up. Lunch at the diner was chaos incarnate. Marlene's specials, overflowing plates. Mrs. Patel's samosas clashing gloriously with Rose's empanadas. Laughter ricocheted. Stories of Lily's mischief. Victor's awkward dad jokes thawing the room. As pie was served, David caught Alex's eye across the booth. A silent toast, we did this. But life's undercurrent tugged. Post-adoption, Victor's foundation launched, Lily's Light, youth centers for LGBTQ plus kids in foster limbo. David's sketches adorning brochures. Fame lingered, interviews with Ellen. A viral TEDx talk where David shared the alley's echo. Love isn't found. It's chosen. Rain or shine. Checks arrived. Modest but steady. Easing Rose's burdens. Funding art supplies and Alex's community college tuition. Yet shadows persisted. Alex's senior year wound down. Scholarship offers piling Ohio State, with its track program and urban pulse. Come with, he'd urge during late-night cuddles, Lily snoring between their tangled limbs. We could apartment hunt, be grown-ass adults. David wavered, senior year looming too, applications to RISD, dreams of galleries over greasy spoons. Lily's rooted here. Beth needs stability. And us, we're barely glued. Alex's response was action. Weekend cabin retreats, where they'd hike leaf-strewn trails. Lily in a backpack carrier, pausing for picnics of PB and JS and poetry. Alex reciting Whitman, David countering with Ocean Vuong. Nights by the fire, stories unfurled. Alex's hidden panic attacks post-dad's layoff. David's unspoken grief for the father who fled his queerness. Vulnerability bonded them deeper, kisses evolving from fire to hearth, slow explorations mapping scars, affirmations whispered in the dark. Thanksgiving brought trial by turkey. Victor hosting at his Pittsburgh estate, a sprawling Tudor dripping opulence. David arrived wary, Lily's turkey onesie his armor, but the old man softened over stuffing, sharing sepia photos of Eliza's namesake, his wife, lost to cancer young. She'd have adored this sprite, Victor rumbled, bouncing Lily gently. Beth, vibrant in cashmere, linked arms with Rosa, their laughter bridging worlds. Post-feast, as snow dusted the grounds, David and Alex wandered the gardens, breath clouding. This place. It's too much, David admitted, crunching gravel. Alex pulled him close. But look at us, trailer kid and track star, holding court with tycoons. His grin faded. Promise you'll chase your dreams? Even if it means leaving the nest. David's throat tightened. Only if we fly tandem. Winter solstice whispered change. David's acceptance to RISD arrived Christmas Eve. Wrapped in red paper under the tree Alex is doing the sneak. Elation ward with logistics. Dorms versus family. Beth's rehab check-ins. Victor's looming board seat for Lily at 18. Will hybrid, Elena advised over eggnog. Visits. Video calls. Modern family. Ramirez style. New Year's dawned crisp. Resolutions etched in frost. Alex proposed a road trip, Ohio to Rhode Island. Scouting apartments. Lily's first cross-state jaunt in her car-seat fortress. The drive stretched like a ribbon. Highways humming with possibility. Stops at diners for pancakes. Sing-alongs to Chapel Roan. Lily's first snowman in a Pennsylvania rest stop. Pudgy mittens flailing. In Providence, the city pulsed artistic, cobblestones and cafes, Riz's brick facades promising pigment and perspective. They toured a studio flat, cramped but cozy, envisioning Lily's corner with a crib and crayons. Our launch pad, Alex murmured, sealing the vision with a kiss in the empty kitchen, hands framing David's face like a portrait. But return brought reality's bite. School's end loomed. Alex's graduation a cap-and-gown blur of cheers and tears. David in the stands, Lily waving a pom-pom, pride swelling. Post-ceremony, under stadium lights, Alex knelt, not ring, but key, to my place. Till we pack for Providence. David laughed through tears. Bossy. Yours. Summer scorched. Transitions accelerating. David deferred RISD a semester. Lily's first steps deserve front row, focusing on foundation work. Murals in youth centers. His half-body portraits capturing kids' resilient gazes. Echoes of his own rainy revelation. Alex coached track camp. Evenings spent grilling on the porch. Lily's wobbly steps between them. Her Detta a duet. Beth thrived, opening a boutique in Willow Creek. Vintage finds with a modern twist. Her and Rose's friendship blooming into book club nights. Wine-fueled confessions. Victor, reformed curmudgeon, arrived unannounced with toys and tales. His gruff Grandpa Vic melting David's wariness. One evening, over chess in the trailer, Victor's concession to slumming. He admitted, "You taught this old dog grace, Ramirez." David smirked. Lily's the teacher. Fall rekindled. RISD beckoning. Departure day dawned misty. Trailer stuffed with duffels and doubts. Rosa hugged fierce. Beth's tears salt on cheeks. Victor's envelope tuition covered. No strings, a silent amends. Lily, in Alex's arms, babbled farewell, her blue eyes wide. The drive east was cathartic. Podcasts on queer icons. Pit stops for ice cream smears on chins. Providence welcomed with autumn blaze. The flat there's walls bare, begging brushes. First night, unpacking amid pizza boxes. Alex strung lights. David hung a canvas. Lily's portrait, half-body, her cherubic face alight with that alley-born wonder. As snow flurried come winter, video calls bridged miles. Lily's words tumbling, "Miss Dada." Her visits monthly, chubby arms claiming both. David thrived in studios, oils capturing heartland hues. Alex coached freshmen, his empathy honed by loss. Dates wove whimsy, gallery crawls, harbor walks hand in hand, unapologetic in the city's queer-friendly hum. Challenges nipped, midterms crush, Lily's ear infections demanding flights home, but love's lattice held. One Providence spring, cherry blossoms raining, Alex knelt for real, ring glinting, simple gold. Marry me when we're ready. Make it legal, eternal. David's yes was a vow, sealed in petals and passion. Years folded like an accordion. Lily's kindergarten finger paints mailed weekly, her summers splitting coasts. Victor's health waned, but his legacy bloomed, foundations expanding. David's advocacy keynoting pride parades. Beth remarried softly, a therapist with gentle hands. Rosa visited, her retirement funded by That Good Boy's art sales. Lily, 10, asked once, "Why'd I start in rain?" David knelt, hazel eyes meeting blue. "So you'd find us. Your family chosen, fierce, forever." She hugged tight, the circle complete. In the end, the alley's echo faded to legend, but its gift endured. A gay teen's gamble on grace, weaving billions and brokenness into humanity's richest tapestry. Love, after all, wasn't a fortune found, but forged, one resilient heartbeat at a time.